I went through them first in Deuteronomy, and then I listed them in Exodus because I wanted to compare them to make sure they were in the same order, the same teachings they are. Some of the wording is not exactly identical, and I'll show you how minute this is. You see Exodus, the 8th one, thou shalt not steal, and the 9th one, thou shalt not bear false witness. Let's go back to Deuteronomy here, and I'll show you how minuscule the differences are in these things. Let me go back. Here we are. No. Instead of thou shalt not steal, you have it in front of you, but it's small here. Instead of thou shalt not steal, it says what? Neither shalt thou steal. Is there any difference in the meaning, folks? No. But the exact wording is slightly different. So we have the testimony twice. Deuteronomy chapter 5, Exodus chapter 20, the 10 Commandments, both places, same order, same ideas that God speaks about, the same matters. The exact wording is not exactly the same, but these are 10 teachings, 10 matters, and they are the same matters. See if I have anything else before I leave this topic. Okay. I have the different groups, what they do with these. Oh, I want you to look at this note here. When I was studying on this thing. Different religious traditions divide the 17 verses of Exodus 20, 1 through 17, and there are parallels in Deuteronomy 5, 4 through 21, in 10 commandments or 10 saints in slightly different ways, shown in the table below. Now I crossed out the next note, but I'll read it to you. The number 10 seems to be a choice to aid memorization rather than a matter of theology. I disagree with that statement. I disagree with that statement. The number 10 is not just a matter of memorization. God says there are 10 sayings, and there are 10 sayings, and 10 becomes our number for law. It does matter. Exactly how you group them and divide them, we're not going to worry about or argue about. I gave you a couple different possibilities. People have done some different things, all right? But those teachings are precious. We want to keep them. Now, the law has been written where, folks? In our heart. So even someone who has never been exposed to those 10 commandments will at times instinctively keep them or know they should be kept, and will teach them to others. By the way, in the time of Christ, there were philosophers who were really, vagabond preachers who would wander around Greece and preach, and most of them preach a Stoic moral code. They taught morality, but they did not have the 10 Commandments. But they were moral teachers, and this is what they did. And they had a list of virtues that they would teach. And by the way, Peter gets in a list of virtues, which was a takeoff on what was done in his age. So it was interesting that a moral code is somehow written in the heart of man, even in heathen cultures. But here it's clear. This is God's ideal. This is here. I'll give you an example how this code is written in people's hearts. In America today, we hardly blink an eye anymore over someone committing adultery and leaving their wife, living with a boyfriend or girlfriend. But one of our leaders does it, we get all upset. He shouldn't be doing that. He should be in a what? An example. Somehow it's still in our heart. What should be done, even though we're not doing it. That's the kind of culture, that's where our culture is today with that commandment. We want our leaders to keep it, and our heroes to keep it, but when it comes to us keeping it, well, we have all kinds of excuses. But of course, God, it is sin. Excuse or no excuse. Let's see, I don't think you need to know what all the groups did with it. Now, those 10 commandments, they stand against and expose the lust of the flesh. They're dealt with in those 10 commandments. I won't go into these in length, but this is human nature. This is why we needed those 10 commandments, because this is what the flesh does. And I'll mention these if you haven't seen these before. They're valuable to see. And I don't know, they're not in order of what's most important or any order, just how they came to my mind. The lust for pleasure or self-gratification And by the way, that would include sensual or sexual lust. It's pleasure. That's what you're after. Okay? Then possessions or material lust. Power. Either control over others or other things, some kind of power lust. Very interesting. You know, when someone just like wants to hit the gas pedal of their car and hear that engine, you know, it's this power lust thing. You know, it's and it can be control over other people. Some people will use their emotions to emotionally control other people. It's a power lust. They want to be in control, and they'll manipulate them with their own emotional response. The desire for praise, officially approbation lust. We want to be praised. It is human nature. It is part of what's in us. And lastly, here I put down wanderlust, meaning we can be very excited about something for a season and then be suddenly very bored with it, look for something else to excite us, which is the wandering of desires the scripture talks about. So those lusts are going on in the human heart, and God set up 10 commandments to put the brakes on those things, because they're all destructive. They're all destructive. And I'll mention one other thing about these lust patterns. What's interesting is that if a person will put God first and keep his commandment, he will actually give them an opportunity to, in a godly way, to experience all those 5 things listed there. Huh? How does that work? At his right hand there are pleasures forevermore, and everlasting joy shall be upon their head. Pleasure beyond belief will be ours in heaven. And being that the joy of the Lord is our strength, we're able to, if you will, enjoy life in a degree that an unsaved person could not even imagine. And I could go on too. God will give us possessions as we need them, and sometimes just to bless us, not necessarily that we have to have something. He gives us things, and when God gives them to us, it's wonderful. And if Jesus said the first shall be last and the last shall be first. If you put yourself last and you end up first, then you have power over others. And he makes us the head and not the tail. And obviously there is praise for those who do that which is pleasing to God. They will get their time of praise, but they don't live for it. And even the wanderlust, at different times God will bring you into different situations to do a variety of things in life. He will give that to you. All right. The old sin nature is able to gain what it seeks. It soon becomes dissatisfied with the fleeting pleasures of sin. This is the strangest thing. The old sin nature desires something. The old sin nature gets what it desires, and the old sin nature quickly becomes dissatisfied with that which it desires in God. Fleeting, meaning that they don't last. And so, in Hebrews 11:25 it says, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the people of God to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. I mentioned this. We tire of sin, especially when it begins to produce death in us and others. Then it's not so exciting anymore. And this is one of the reasons why a person at one time in their life may not be open to the gospel. But when sin begins to bring forth death in their life, all of a sudden the gospel sounds like a wonderful story. And that will happen. So there are opportune times when people are beginning to experience the effects of their own sin, and suddenly the gospel seems like a wonderful message. Okay. I mentioned that the English, when you get a Greek Bible, the 10 Commandments, it's a decalogue. All right. Now, I have to print something, so I'm going to take our break just a little early. I want to print something for what we're going to do after break. We get a 10-minute break.